Hello, I'm Maria from the Richardson's Homeschool Live. Today's Tuesday, so I'm here with another vlog. I'm only going to do a short one today, she says. You know what my short ones are like, I go on and on forever. But yeah, I only intend to do a short one today. I just thought we'd have a quick chat about gardening as a lesson, because I was saying that I wanted to incorporate gardening into Shawns' homeschooling. I wanted her to learn to grow vegetables and, you know, to be able to, well, prepare them right from the seed to the table type of thing. I wanted her to know how to go about doing that because it was important. So I was going to incorporate that into part of her schooling. But I wasn't sure how I was going to do it. I know I was going to have me join me outside and do planting and what have you. But then I was thinking, well, to look at a schoolwork, will I use a school book? Will I write it down? So I've been thinking about this because she has joined me in the garden. I didn't film any of it because it is difficult to film outside. I do have to pick my times when I can do that. Nice weather, neighbours are all out. There's a lot of talking, shouting, screaming and music playing. So it is very difficult for me to just go out there and do what I want to do. I do have to pick my moments. And normally, like when I go on to my garden homestead site, I'm out early in the morning before anybody's got up. But obviously I can't do that with homeschooling with Sean because she's in bed fast asleep. So it doesn't work like that. So I've not been able to film any of that with Sean outside with me. But as for the written work, I've been thinking about that and I thought, well, I don't think we'll do any written work yet because I was thinking, oh, we'll get a book, an exercise book. We'll sort of write up what we've been planting and write about them. But it just seems like, oh, what's the point of writing, I planted a potato and I did it this way up and I planted on such and such a date and it's showing on such and such a date, because we keep a garden journal and all that goes in there anyway. And I can't see the point of Sean writing that and then saying, well, I put a pea seed in on such and such a day. And it's just repetitive all the time. I put a seed in and this showed through and that showed through and maybe draw a picture of the seed. But it seems a bit repetitive all the time like that, if you know what I mean. You know, just keep saying, I put a seed in and it did this, did that. So I was thinking, well, I'll show her, we'll go outside and I'll show her how we plant things so she knows. She was with me when we did the first lot of potatoes and she didn't know about chitting, so I was telling her all about the potatoes and chitting. She's seen them on the side being left to chit, so I've told her all about that, explained about that, and she's seen them going in and she can now see the first earlies coming through. So rather than write about it, because we make notes in the garden journal, she's watching it and taking mental notes, I hope. But yeah, she's seeing it, and it's not just this year she's seen it, she's seen it every year, because it's like she said, you do it every year, Mum. She says, you always plant vegetables. So she pretty much knows what to do, and she sees them in the greenhouse and everything's coming through, except for the peppers. I don't know what's happened to them. I'm getting a bit worried about them. But yeah, so I've decided like how I was hoping to do it, sort of film her out there with me doing some gardening and then perhaps doing write-ups in an exercise book. I don't think it's going to pan out like that. Like I say, it's difficult to go outside during the day anyway, this time of year when it's sunny and warm and everybody's about and music playing. So that is difficult. The only way I could do that is by filming it, setting it to a bit of music and either doing a talk over what we're doing or just and a chat like I am now and just showing you. That's the only way I could probably have done it. But yeah, she was with me when I planted the potatoes anyway. She's out there all the time when I'm planting, when I'm in the greenhouse. In fact, she took a picture of me in the greenhouse the other day. That yeah, so we've not done no written work on that, and I don't think we're going to do any written work on that. What we might aim for now is, as things grow, it might be more beneficial for Sean's studies if we write about what we're using, what we're making, what sort of goodness is in the vegetables. I don't know if you're seeing flashing, excuse me if we're going off topic a minute, but I can see a bit of flashing. I don't know if you're going to be seeing that. I don't know what's causing it, unless it's me waving my hands about. Terrible for doing that. But yeah, I keep seeing a bit of flashing, so I apologise if you're seeing some flashing. But as I was saying about what we perhaps will write up about, not saying we will, it depends how it all goes. But when things have grown and when we harvest things, then maybe she could do a write-up of what we use in the food for, a bit like recipes and, you know, the values of that food. And also another thing that I had actually for my birthday, I bought a lot of herb seeds. Now I have started growing some in the greenhouse, but I bought some more and another little stacking plant. It's a bit smaller than the one I got, but it's perfect to grow herbs in out of the back door. So I think she's going to join me on that. And I got a brilliant book. I'm not sure if it's to hand anywhere. Oh, it is. I'll just go and fetch it and I'll show you. Okay, right, I've got it. It's an encyclopedia of herbal medicine. Dean bought it me for my birthday a few days ago, and it's really good. I'd said to him, he said, what do you want for your birthday? I said, I wouldn't mind a book on herbs. I have got a book on herbs, but it's not all brilliant. I wanted something that tells you what purposes you could use them for, how to make herbal remedies and things like that, and what they're good for. And he bought me this, and it's a DK book, which I normally associate DK books with children's books, because Shawns got quite a few good history ones from them, and they are very good. But this isn't a children's one, it's an adult one. Well, children or adult, I suppose. But yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, I don't know, it gives you the history of herbs and in the olden days what they used them for. And then it goes page by page into different herbs. Even things like celery, burdock, just as an example, you know, there's lots of herbs. It tells you key actions on them, what things they do, traditional and current uses, key constituents, habitat and cultivation, and how to prepare them for the uses. I mean, I'll just swing around so you can, I mean, don't expect you to read all that, but just an idea of how it's laid out. And I've read through it yesterday, and it's really good and brilliant book. So I'm hoping, obviously I'm not going to grow all these herbs, but I'm hoping me and Sean can do some herbs together and then maybe have a go at making some of the medicine type things. My husband Dean, he's got arthritic knees, so we might find something for that in there. Yeah, so I thought that's quite good to go alongside gardening as well, and that's something me and Sean can learn together, because I know a little bit about different herbs and their properties, but not an awful lot. I mean, I've got a cousin, he's a herbal doctor, one of these natural doctors, and he's got his PhD in this, that and the other, and he's quite famous around the world. He does talks in America and everything, and he's got a practice, I think he's got a practice in London and in Carmarthen, I think, in Wales. But yeah, and he swears by all this sort of stuff, and I think, like myself, I think everything that is there that's beneficial for our bodies has been given us to grow from the ground. Everything is around us. It's just we need to know what to use and how to use things. But yeah, I think, like, you know, originally everything is here on the earth for us. But like I say, it's using them. Not that I would endorse swapping them from anything if you've got a serious illness, because, like, for example, me with my acid, that's not a serious illness. Well, I suppose it could be, but it isn't. But I do have to take medication for that. I wouldn't stop taking medication unless I was doing something like that and it did actually make a difference. But I wouldn't endorse anyone to stop taking the medication that they need to take in favour of it. But you know, your minor ailments and things like that, this is great for things like that. So I do want to learn more about that, and I think it's good for Sean to learn and something we can learn together and do. And that's part of gardening as well. So this is how we're hoping to go on with our gardening studies. We're going to try and devise or throw together some different vegetables and things, herbs and things out the garden, make things and food with what we grow, and then we'll perhaps jot that down, put my teeth in. So that's probably how we'll work it more than anything. Shawns with me, she watches things how they grow, she gives a helping hand. She's seen it lots of times. She says, you do it every year, Mum, I know what we're doing. So all right. So it'll come to harvest time, because this year I do want to concentrate more on creating recipes or meals. I should say meals, creating meals from what we're growing. And I mean, it's not just because it's healthier, but also the cost of living at the moment is rocketing sky high. As much as what you can do yourself saves money, doesn't it? So I think that's quite a good thing to be doing. So that's how we're going to do garden studies anyway. We're going to just see what we can do when we've grown things and what does grow. And we're going to concentrate on herbal studies. Well, this is herbal medicine, but not necessarily all herbal medicine. Obviously, herbs in food and things like that. So it's quite nice. But yeah, that's really good. But I thought I'd show you that. So yeah, that's how we're going to do it, really. So we won't be outside every 5 minutes showing you, oh, we're planting this and we're planting that, and Sean's doing this and Sean's doing that. I think it'll be more when we come to gathering the crops, and we'll see what we can put together to make a meal, and you know, and she can note the benefits of food and how good it is for the body, and maybe we'll do it in that way. And then it's a bit like a biology science type lesson as well then, because she doesn't like the traditional sciences and biology, but it'll be quite good for that, I think, as well. So yeah, at the moment this week Sean's still on I was going to say half term. They're not half term, Easter holidays, are they? Because they're a couple of weeks. She's still on the Easter holidays. She's upstairs doing things. She's still been doing independent learning, because I think children learn all the time, don't they? They don't stop learning. They do it without realising they're doing it, and without us realising they're doing it. So she's been doing all kinds of different things. She's been doing art, and because she loves the drawing, she's been continuing doing that. She's constantly reading different historical books. Yeah, she's been watching documentaries. In fact, I'll tell you something she has been watching just lately is the Charlie Chaplin movies. I don't know how she's got into them, but she's took like into Charlie Chaplin silent movies. She just laughs at them. She thinks they're funny. So I don't know how she got into them. But she's been watching Charlie Chaplin as well. And she's been associating with friends. So she's had plenty of social activities. Not bad for saying children don't get any socialisation when they're homeschooled. Poppycock. But yeah, so she's been enjoying herself, and she's upstairs at the moment, relaxing and playing a game, I think she is at the minute. So I haven't got a lot to tell you. I just thought I'd give you a run through what we were going to be doing gardening wise, that we wasn't going to be sort of out every week doing this and doing that. It'll be more towards when we gather things in and whatnot. So yeah, what I'm going to try and do is, I think we're going to try and channel it into sort of for a science biology type of lesson. So the goodness of food and goodness on your body, that sort of thing. And because she says she already knows how to grow food. So yeah, it's teaching her how to get it from there and onto a plate where she'll eat it. And she's a fussy eater anyway. So yeah, I think that's how we're going to be channeling it. because you have ideas what you're going to do for lessons, but until you start along with things, you never quite know where everything's going to go. You can't say, right, this is my curriculum, I'm doing this, doing that, and doing the other, because things have a way of diversifying into something else or a different way of doing it. So until you start doing things, you're not going to be quite sure how it's going to pan out. So it doesn't matter how it pans out, but one way or another, it'll take some shape, you know. So yeah, this week, did you all have a good Easter? Then we had quite a nice Easter. I would say we were going to have a quiet Easter, but we had a bit of a dramatic Easter. We had a phone call on the Saturday. No, it was Friday, sorry. So get the days mixed up when you're off for a good while. On the Friday morning, my son rang up, one of my twins, and his girlfriend, all her face had swollen up and she'd had to go to hospital. And she went to the Burton Hospital, is the closest to her. But they transferred her to Derby because it was swelling and all the throat, and we didn't know what was wrong or anything. And she's not long had a baby, and my son was panicking because he'd got to fetch his son as well, because he's got a son by another relationship, and he'd promised to have him for Easter, and he'd got to get him, and his girlfriend had taken the car, and that was parked at Burton, although she was going to Derby, being transferred by ambulance to Derby. Oh, what a palaver. So we had to go early in the morning, go and collect him, and luckily his son lives near us, so he could just walk here from his house. Well, not on his own because he's little, but it could be fetched and walked here. And then en route we had to go and collect the car, which luckily she'd left the keys in the A&E reception, so he just had to go and ask for them there, and they were expecting him. So he picked his car up from the car park. But I was quite impressed because they talk about all these car park charges and everything, but they give her a 3 free-day pass in the car park to give a chance for the car to be collected, and they didn't have to pay anything for charges. So I was quite impressed by that. I thought that was quite good. But anyway, she ended up all right. It turned out to be an abscess, I was going to say an ulcer, an abscess in a gum, and the antibiotics wasn't reacting to it at first, but after a while she had stronger ones and they did manage to react. They said if it didn't, she'd have to have it cut and drained, like a little operation on it. So luckily it's worked, although they made her sick with stronger antibiotics because she'd had so many pumped into her. But they worked, and they let her home that night, and she's been fine ever since. So that was a drama on that day. Then the next day we had another drama. My other twin son, his girlfriend's having a baby. She's pregnant, 26 weeks pregnant, but she started to lose blood, and it's turned out that her placenta is lying across the cervix, so therefore she's not going to be able to go full term. Now, because she's 26 weeks pregnant, they were preparing her for a C-section and pumping her with steroids to enhance the baby's lungs, because they were saying that she'd likely have to give birth that day because they couldn't stop the bleeding, and the chances of survival for the baby were quite slim because it's only 26 weeks. Though the baby's strong inside of her, heart beating strong and everything, so it's quite slim. And neither Burton nor Derby Hospital have the facilities to deal with, they called it, not premature, but like pre-premature. So there's premature and there's before that. And it come before that. And so they were saying that if it survived the birth, then it would have to go to Nottingham or Birmingham to a very special care unit for these pre-premature babies. There was a name for it, but I can't remember what the name was. Anyway, by nightfall the bleeding had slowed down and stopped, and then they said that if it stopped for 24 hours they would let her go home. They're going to try and get her to hold on to the baby until 28 weeks. At 28 weeks they said the chances of survival go loads higher. It's about 90%. It's a lot higher, and you know they've got more more, they respond better or something. Anyway, the lungs are a bit more developed. That 2 weeks makes a whole lot of difference, so we're saying. So at the moment, it's all stopped. She's at home. I think she had 9 days when they first said to go until the 28-week marker. So probably now it's about 7 or 6 days, because only a couple of days ago. So we're hoping that it doesn't bleed again until that time, because if it does, they're going to have to remove the baby from her, and it's hit and miss. I mean, it's hit and miss anyway at 28 weeks, but its chances are better. So we're hoping that can hold on, and if she could go beyond that, it'd be better. But they did say they wouldn't be able to leave her too far beyond, because as the baby grows and presses on it, it's dangerous for the baby and the mother. So she will be induced a lot earlier than 40 weeks. I can't see him letting her go beyond 30. I probably won't let her go beyond the 28, I don't know. But at the moment, the goal is just to aim for this 28 weeks. So we'll see what happens. He's strong, little boy it is. He's strong at the moment. He's not in no distress or anything like that. So we'll see what happens. No, I'll keep you informed what happens. So really we had quite a dramatic Easter weekend, but now everyone's back at work, so me and Sean are relaxing. But yeah, so that's it really. That's home life and a bit of homeschooling. Like I said, she's not homeschooling this week. She's having a week's holiday, well, 2 weeks holiday it is. So I just thought I'd just talk to you about the gardening side of homeschooling that we were hoping to do and how that's going to pan out. So next week now, next Tuesday, we'll be back on track with our homeschooling, and we'll see what we're doing then. So until next Tuesday, take care everybody, have a good week, and we'll see you then. Bye.